You can both fit in the camera. You guys are all muted right now, but this is a bit different than last week because you're actually able to share your camera if you want to. There wasn't as much choice, and everyone can see who else is painting with this view. And I will pin myself. I'll just give time for everyone to come in. But let me just share list. This is what you'll need. We'll just let everyone trickle in. I'm glad everyone got the right Zoom link. Welcome back for those that are joining me again from last week. This is kind of a checklist, even though I sent it out a billion times. I just want to make sure everyone knows. Feel free to pop into the chat where you're from. I know we had a lot of friends from different places last week. You can pop into the chat.
Hey, how are you?
Hello.
My name is Lamore.
Oh, Lamore, yes, I remember you from last week.
Yeah, you know what? This was so much fun.
I'm so glad.
Coach, I'm in a group on Facebook, and it's like a lot of creative people. It's called the Firecracker Group.
Mm-hmm.
And I posted, like, so people would know that I was doing this, because it's so great.
I'm so glad. You're from Toronto as well.
Yeah, I'm from Toronto. Right?
It's a nice day outside.
It's a gorgeous day. I've been sitting inside for like 2 days organizing, and actually for almost the week doing taxes. So I went out today. I was like, oh my God.
It's like breezy. It's not too humid these days.
Yeah.
You're catching the tax deadline right in time.
Although I missed the tax deadline, but the thing is there's no penalization.
Yeah.
They're not penalizing until August.
Yes, they've extended it.
Yeah, they've extended it. So I did it, and like I still have to finish a couple more things, but I'm pretty much done. But yeah, it's so stressful doing taxes.
Yeah, it feels so good getting them done.
Well, I'm not done yet, but I just have to look up a couple more things.
Just a bit of painting and then continuing with taxes.
And I need to figure out basically my receipts for charities. I have a couple of charitable donations. So
Firecrackers group, is that you said it's a Facebook group, right?
Firecracker, yeah, it's run by this actor Naomi Sneakus. She's a comedy actor.
Ah, okay.
She's absolutely amazing. She's brilliant, and it's an amazing group of creative people, like filmmakers, writers, directors. Some people are not creative, but they're still in the group.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, it's amazing. There's she has like a film, what is it, Firecracker for like the Artist Way. All different things, and
I'll definitely check it out too.
Yeah, it's really good.
Plattsville, where's Plattsville? M. McLean from Plattsville. We have New York.
Can you tell me your name again, please?
Oh, you can call me Mickey. Some people call me Jen, but my paint name is Mickey, okay, like Mickey Mouse.
I won't forget that. It's just because I wrote to you and I was like, I can't remember her name.
It's okay.
Do you think you're going to do this ongoing after this session of 4 of them?
I want to, definitely. It just depends on my schedule, but it's obviously because right now I'm working from home. Like I'm a teacher. The summer should be a bit more free, but I'm used to doing in-person events. So it really depends on if I can start doing the in-person events. But I think for sure the virtual classes will keep up because it's easier for me too, and I feel like I can connect to more people that way.
Yeah.
There's Sandy. Welcome, Jerry, Judith, Tashanda.
Nice. Sorry, Mickey, I was going to ask you, you had something on your on the email about dates or meetings for consecutive meetings for like
Yes. Yeah, so it's going to be the same link basically for the next 2 weeks. The Zoom invitation, like when I copy it, it just lets people know in case they're tuning in with like their phone or from a different time zone. Okay, Plattsville. Is it nice in Plattsville? Should I check it out? New York again.
I was going to say, have you heard of acrylic when they put paint on the easel and then they put it through like a colander and it all bubbles?
Oh, yes, I've heard of it. I know, I think you add some sort of other liquid to it, and it's kind of like, it looks like abstract, right? Yeah.
It's amazing. I've been obsessed with it lately.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You sound like an avid artist.
I'm an actor, right? So like I did the artist way, and one of my things on the artist way was painting. And then when I saw your thing, I was like, oh my gosh, thank you. So
oh, wow.
I love art, music, theater, dance.
You can definitely connect after.
Yeah.
I love connecting with other creatives in the city.
Totally. I love art. Improv.
Yeah. Anne is back. I remember Anne. Hi, Anne.
And I actually have paints here, like a set of paints.
Yeah, so today's painting, like last week we did a lot. It was more of just like straight kind of, it was more detail painting with Picasso shapes, but today will be more like texture.
Yeah.
It's going to be fun.
That's when I saw that, I was like, it's one of my favorite paintings.
Oh yeah? Yeah, it's really popular.
I love it. I love Monet, Renoir, Gustav Klimt.
I'm still learning a lot more about different painters. Paint pour. Oh, Barbara said, is that called paint pour?
Paint to pour, yeah. It's paint to pour. It's absolutely, it's so incredible. That's, and I also got this. You know this?
Does it use a lot of, I would think that it uses a lot of paint. Oh yeah, Spirograph. I remember those.
Not too. Artist way.
Welcome everyone. Yes. I haven't tried a paint pour yet, but I think I need more like empty space for it. I don't want to just ruin the furniture at my parents' home right now.
Yeah.
Welcome everyone. You can pop in the chat where you're coming from. And we'll get started shortly. And this is a list of things that you kind of might want to check off, make sure you have with you. I'm not going to play music because I know last week you could not hear me. Welcome back, Adriana. I did not get to join your dance class on Friday, but I'm planning to this week.
No worries. Class will be every Friday.
Okay.
So it's free for everyone. If you guys want to join, we dance every Friday. California time is 5:45. We got people from some different places coming. Mm-hmm. We dance Hawaiian and Tahitian dance with live drumming. And yeah, it's via Zoom. I can put the link on the chat. And you're free to join every Friday.
I'm so excited.
5:45 California time. It's free. It's just for friends.
Hawaiian, like Tahitian, right?
Mm-hmm.
Tashanda likes to dance.
Yeah, I do.
I like this. This is
my nephew was he wanted to talk so bad, so I took him off.
Maxwell, you can talk all you want.
You never told me that.
You're like, oh,
Sydney, Sandy's back from Sydney, Australia. I'm just gonna, I'll mute everyone once I start teaching, but I think what I love about this setting on Zoom is that we can kind of socialize a bit, since a lot of us might be missing that right now.
Do you want to say hi to her? You can say hi now.
Hi, Maxwell. We can all see you and hear you.
Hi, Maxwell.
Yeah, all these ways to see you and hear you.
Adriana's from San
I did an
Francisco.
ladies.
Maxwell, when was the last time you painted?
This week? What day would we do
Oh
it?
yeah, last weekend.
Oh, that's nice and recent.
I mostly do like my own stuff or something like that.
Do you like art?
Yeah, I do a lot of art.
Yeah.
That's good.
Are you in grade 4? I forget, or grade 3?
Yeah.
What grade are you in?
Well, I'm in grade 3, but I'm going to grade 4.
Yeah, the year has ended, right?
Oh, not yet. 2 more weeks.
Almost.
God bless the teachers. Let me say. Right?
Some more people trickling in.
Okay, so we're gonna go on mute. So say, okay, bye, Mickey. We'll see you.
We're going on mute?
Well, yes.
He wants to be heard.
He wants to be heard. Yes.
If you have a question throughout the class, feel free to like unmute yourself. It's just while I'm teaching, if
Sure.
there might be like background noise and things
Yeah.
like that. But other than that, like feel free to unmute
Okay,
yourself.
I text you, so check your text, okay?
Okay.
Great.
Oh, thank you. I have my personal editor here. All right, we'll get started in a couple of minutes, and I'm going to pull up the slide again just to share in case everyone's still getting ready. So you have some paint. We're going to be using barely any red paint. I'm not sure if you probably all poured your paint already, but obviously the colors we're mainly using is blue, yellow, white, and it will make green and a little bit of black. But you have your brushes. I'm only using these 3 brushes today. Let me stop sharing screen. I'm using these 3 brushes, so it's like a bigger one just for the background so that it takes up, so that it's faster just to fill up the background. But I have like a rounder brush, which will be handy for, we're going to be doing like a lot of dabbing, but you don't need many brushes for today's class. And then if you have your music going on the side, your favorite playlist, it's always helpful. Let's see, I have some people emailing. Let me just make sure they're taken care of and we'll get started.
Are the paints at Dollarama good?
I would say like they're pretty good to start out with.
Okay.
You'll notice a difference if you buy. I showed from last week. I buy them in bulk. This is probably like $11 to $15, and it's a lot. It's a lot more. It'll just last you longer, and the texture is nicer.
Okay. I did, because I actually got this at Winners. I got like a set of paint at Winners for $10. So that's what I'm using.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah. But when I'm done this, and when I do that flow art stuff, I want to get.
Yeah.
I'm 100% doing it. I'm gonna finish all my other stuff and then do it.
I don't know if anyone else is using other materials. Heath has her Timbits there. I saw those Timbits. I love Timbits. Okay. Let's get started. I may be in and out just in the beginning to make sure people are on or have the right link, but I think we're good. All right, so welcome everyone. It is the second week of the Take It Back in Time Historical Painters, and just a little bit about myself for those that are just joining us this week. My name is Mickey, Jen Mickey. You can call me Jen or Mickey. I've been painting for about 10 years, but I did not go to school for it or anything. I'm actually a teacher full-time during the day, and so I hear a lot that people love the way I'm teaching, and it's just because I'm not a professional painter, but my goal is to get you being creative. So don't feel anxious if you haven't painted in a long time, but these are a lot of the benefits that I find through painting, and I'm sure you're here for one of these reasons: stress relief, and just the process of it itself. It's not, it doesn't matter too much about what you're going to end up with, but it's really through painting and how we feel throughout the process. So I'm really thankful for everyone that made it today. And last week we learned a bit about abstract painting, and this is what we painted with Picasso. Right here. And everyone did amazing. They sent me in the emails with what they ended up painting, and we'll do the same today. And for this week, we are doing Monet's Water Lilies. So a little bit about Monet. I literally just found this off of Wikipedia, but he was a French painter and a founder of the French Impressionist painting, and the most consistent and prolific practitioner of the movement's philosophy of expressing one's perceptions before nature. And he did it and applied it to plein air landscape painting. But today, let's just focus on Impressionism. So I want you to take away at least a little bit of extra knowledge. And so if you've never heard of Impressionism, it is actually not about being realistic per se. Sorry, just letting people in, but an impression of what the person, the light, the atmosphere, the object, or the landscape looks like to them in that moment. So it's called Impressionist because they're trying to capture the movement and the life of what they saw. And so with Monet's, you can see the original. We're painting a simplified version of it, but you can see all the textures that he had, and you can kind of attempt this too as we go along. But let me know if you have any questions along the way, and we will get started. Let me know if you have any questions. I'm gonna put myself on gallery view, and feel free to, just unmute yourself or pop in the chat if you have a question. Okay. Admit. All right, so to start, I'm going to use the bigger brush, and I'm just going to jump right in. I'm going to dip my paintbrush into the water and just cover the canvas with it. With this painting, you want the paint to sit a bit nicer because we'll be filling the whole canvas with different textures. Whereas last week we started drawing first for Picasso. I'm just using paper actually, so you don't need too much. Okay. And I know I got feedback to just have the painting there, but if you have the link that I sent out, you can also just open that up separately. Move it over. Okay, so we're gonna start, let me just break it down to let you know how we're gonna go through this, but we're gonna start with the water, and it's kind of like in a upside down V shape, and it's slowly kind of getting bigger. And you can see that when we get closer to the middle, it's to show that the water lilies, they're getting smaller. And so you just want to think of that perspective. Whatever is closer to the front here will be a little bit bigger, okay? So less coming in there. Okay, welcome to those just came in. We're just getting started, so you didn't miss anything yet. But I'm gonna first start by mixing the color of my water. So I have my white, blue, and yellow. I'm gonna make a green color first. So take a little bit of your blue and mix a green color first. A little bit of yellow, I'd say half and half. And then you can add the white accordingly. So I'm just starting with a base turquoise, and then as you can see with the streaks, we can kind of mix it up after. So I have a super light turquoise color. I love this palette, really beautiful, cool colors. So I have like a light turquoise color. But let's just first start off by creating a skeleton for ourselves. Okay, so right in the middle, I'm gonna mark it off, and I'm just gonna do a straight line meeting the bottom left corner, a little bit higher, maybe around there. And then with this one, it's like a little bit of a curve. So it's not completely straight, kind of like a Nike check mark that's falling downward. Okay, can see that, just to kind of give us a skeleton to work with. Okay, so I have my light turquoise color. Welcome to those that just popped in, Karen and Raquel. We just got started. I know there might have been some trouble with the Zoom link, but I'm glad you made it. You can jump right in. So far, we have made a light turquoise color. So you start by mixing a green with a blue and yellow. Blue and yellow, and then you're just adding a bit of white to it. So it can be, if you want it a bit cooler, you add more blue. If you want it a bit greener, a bit warmer, then you add some yellow. Okay, and just let me know if you have any questions. Don't be shy, you can just unmute yourself. Okay, and we have the line right from the middle all the way down to the bottom left corner with a bit of space. And then on the right side, a bit of a curve, as you can see right here, the path of the river. And then just gonna fill it in. Gonna go right in. If it's a bit dry, you can use a bit of water here. Water goes a long way to just helping the paint spread. That's why I find I buy paint, but it lasts a long time if you just learn to use it conservingly. Just gonna fill it all the way down.
Jen, I just got signed in. Which two colors are you using? Sorry,
No problem. So I'm started with the yellow and blue. So you can start with the green color. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
To make a green, and then you add white to it to make it a light turquoise color.
Okay.
And
Thank you.
No problem. Yeah. You can start by kind of just wetting your canvas. That was the first thing we did, just so that the paint sits nice here. And we're just filling in that shape that I made. Excuse me. And because the water ends up mixing a bunch of different shades of the turquoise, feel free to just, I dipped it in a bit of blue, just like solid blue, and you can just start mixing in the different shades of blue. So the goal is for it to not just look like a solid block of turquoise. Use a bit of yellow or white and just keep that long stroke going on the flat side of the brush, back and forth. Adding some water. The water gives it a nice, like shiny, it's like in between watercolor and straight oil, which is really solid. And just keep going. Get this. Looks like a lot of people are having trouble with the link. Okay. And I assure you today's class will be shorter than last week's actually, because this is actually a bit more simple than the Picasso. Okay. So I'm filling in the turquoise all the way down to the bottom. For those that just joined, I used a bit of blue and yellow to make a green color. You're going to start with the green first, and then just add white to make this turquoise color. And we're just starting with the river. Sorry for those that had trouble with the Zoom link.
Is the river, this is mine, is the river supposed to be, yours looks like it's different.
That looks great. The only thing, mine is a bit lower, and then I have this curve here on the right side.
But on this,
So,
see how you've got the white there on the other side? I don't have that.
oh yes, I just haven't filled it in all the way.
Okay.
Yeah, it's gonna be all solid here.
Okay.
Okay, everyone's okay. I know people are just still popping in. Don't worry, you haven't missed too much. You can still catch up. I have black everywhere. Okay, so we started with that turquoise in the bottom. This is what happens when you have black paint everywhere. That's fine. Okay, so we have our turquoise. And next, I'm gonna add in those layers that I mentioned earlier. So I'm just gonna take a little bit of white paint now. And I'm gonna show you how to do like the highlighting effect, and you can use that same technique to add the other colors. So I'm just gonna add a bit of the white streaks within it. So I'm playing around with blue, yellow, and the green to add that extra texture in the water. And all you need to do is spread it and keep brushing it over to blend it in. I'm gonna take a bit of green, do the same thing, maybe some green down at the bottom here. It's the reflection of the trees, right? So it doesn't have to be just straight turquoise.
Sorry, are you mixing the green and the white to get that?
Yep, so I just did a little bit of the white on its own.
Okay.
And I'm just putting it over the turquoise and blending it for those highlights.
Okay.
And the green is just on its own as well. Just so that you have different
levels.
Yes, exactly. For those that just came in, we just started with the turquoise color, and as you can see the shape here, you're starting from the middle of your canvas all the way down to the bottom left, and then I have a curved line right here on the right side. And with turquoise, it's simply the white, blue, and yellow. And then we'll get ready to go into the grass after this so that we can let it dry. Okay. And I'm adding some green highlights, like I said. Hope everyone has like their favorite playlist going, the refreshment.
I don't know if I'm too frustrated to pick up a paintbrush. I've had such difficulty getting into it, and I know Barbara is having difficulty too.
Yes, I know some people had problems with the link.
Why can we not just have the link, like the Zoom number sent out typically? And then it's get on. I've gotten on Zoom many times before.
Yeah, I think that what happened was with the webinar that I used last week, some people used that same link, but I sent out an email updating that it would be a different link, and that's probably what happened. So sorry about that, Betty Ann.
I didn't get it.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Yeah, I sent it out a couple of times, and then like I know it's to the same list of people, so I know if people are receiving it, they might be receiving 3 or 4. But then I sent it out about 4 or 5 times to make sure that. But I'm sorry that it missed you. But it's definitely going to be the same link for next week. So we're just finishing off the water. We just have the turquoise so far. So if you just hopped in, you really didn't miss too much yet. We mixed a bit of the yellow with blue for a green color, and then we're adding white. And I'll kind of just show you what I did. I'll review it, but from the middle all the way down to the bottom left corner, Barbara's just getting in. And from the right side, it's the curved line right here. Hi there, Barbara. Sorry that you had trouble with the link. There's always a couple of people, but I feel like majority found the link okay. All right, so moving on, I'm gonna just outline my river now with the green grass all along here, as you can see. Okay, so I'm gonna mix just a solid green color now with blue and yellow. So it's gonna be a darker green color.
Blue and yellow.
And along the outside here, we're just gonna dab our paintbrush just to start outlining. And I'm just dabbing from the head of my painting, my paintbrush, sorry, all along here. Just like little shrubs.
Would you add black to it to make it a bit darker?
Yeah, we're gonna do that with the grass, but we're just doing a bit lighter right now. And then we can add black. And feel free, like I usually say, as I'm going along, this is kind of like my method of making it look exactly like this. But if you along the way, if you want to add like a fish in the water, if you want to use a different color, it's really up to you. It's your painting.
Hi, Russian.
Yeah.
I keep mixing the yellow and the blue, but I keep turning the light green. It's not turning into turquoise.
Sorry, it's a bit hard to hear you. If you have, can you just type it in the chat maybe, and maybe I can address it there. But we used basically for the grass outside here, I just did a yellow and blue. So it's just a solid green color. Okay. Okay, so now I'm gonna kind of show you all how to paint the blades of grass, the tall blades of grass. And keep in mind, like I said earlier, everything that's in the front here as we're painting is gonna be a little bit bigger to show that it's closer to us. So with these blades of grass on the outside, they're gonna be a bit longer. And as you go in towards the middle, they'll get shorter and shorter. So we'll just start with that same green color. And I'm using the top of my paintbrush. So it's basically facing, if you take a look at it, it's facing the canvas, this. And I'm just gonna swipe it upwards. So pull upwards, pull, 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 and then let go. So it's just like an upward flick. And they can kind of bend. You can do some that are bending, right? And then as I'm getting closer to the middle, the blades of grass get shorter. And then I'm just gonna start to kind of just stamp it. Get really short, right? You can kind of see the perspective already forming. So tall blades of grass. I'm gonna do the same thing to the other side. Swiping upwards, pull, 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 and that flick at the end is what gives it that thin blade of grass kind of texture at the end there. Kind of make them curve in and out if you want. If you think of like a real kind of nature scenery, it's all imperfect, but it looks perfect at the end when you put it all together. So the trick here is, as we kind of go along, it's just a lot of layering with the different shades of green, right? So I'm just gonna do enough, and then we can fill it in with a darker shade of green. Okay. Okay. So I'm gonna mix a darker green. Use that same green that I had earlier, and just add a tiny bit of black to it. Tiny, tiny bit of black. It's gonna make it like an evergreen, a darker green shade. Don't add too much black because it's super strong color. Okay. Maybe a little bit more black there. And we'll go in and start doing the same thing. I'm gonna have a darker green. If it doesn't look too different, it means that maybe I need a bit more black. It's better to go like bit by bit than add way too much, and then it's hard to kind of go backwards. So I have a darker green color. Oh, it's beautiful. And if you find that your brush is getting a bit thick, then I like to kind of squeeze it flat. That's a nice thing you can do right now for this part of the painting, so that it's nice and flat, and you'll have a flatter tip to paint your grass. I have the painting here. I know some of us request, I think it was Barbara, to have the painting here for the whole class. So I hope that helps as well. If I start to get too ahead. So we're filling it in with this darker green color. And same thing, as you get closer to the middle, I'm kind of just stamping my paintbrush so that it's shorter blades of grass. Some can be going straight up. Some can kind of curve inwards. Eventually there will be no gaps in between, right? So you can even do, if you want more dark blades of grass, then let's fill it in more. The nice thing with this painting too is that we won't have to wash our brush too many times because we're using very similar colors. I'm sorry for those that were frustrated getting in. I feel bad about that, but hopefully I can start to relax as we paint now. And let me know too if you have any questions if you're behind. Question in the chat here. The color is turning into green, not turquoise. Yep. So if it's too green, you're just going to add more blue to it, Heba. Just add more blue if it's a bit too green. Because like I said, too, along the way, we're going to have to adjust if we need to. Because the idea is that the green trees are reflecting into the water, so it's not going to be a straight blue color, right? Filling it in. Okay. And then I'm going to make a lighter green color now. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to fill in the grass. So with my lighter green, I'm going to go for like a lime green color. Do yellow. So it'll be way more yellow this time. And just a tiny bit of blue. So majority So it gives me like a lime green color. This is a really pretty color. I'm gonna go in and do the same thing. I won't have as many for this green color. Just adds a nice highlight in between. You can fill in those white spots especially. Start filling in those gaps. I hope everyone's taking care during this time too. I talked a little bit about it last week. There's a lot going on in the world, so it's nice that you're taking this time for yourself. I know here in Ontario, we're allowed to have gatherings up to 10 people now. Just filling in those white spots. I'm gonna kind of dab it along to the bottom if you need to. Just to fill in those white spots. Okay. Okay, now while I have this green color here, we're gonna go back into the water and add some lily pads. This part's super fun. Okay, so for myself, I'm actually gonna switch over to my smaller brush. You can keep going with the grass. I'm gonna go back to the grass later anyways, but I'm gonna use a smaller, it's a rounder brush. And I'm gonna use the same green color, and I'll show you how to paint in the lily pads. Because the lily pads are also made up of different greens. Okay, so with the lily pad, I'm just not using the flat side of my brush, but I'm actually turning it towards the side and I'm stamping it down. So it's gonna make like an oval shape. Little oval. Let me make it a bit darker. I think it's a bit dark here. I'll make it a bit darker so you can see it. I'm turning my paintbrush on the side. So I'm dabbing it this way. If I'm towards the camera, it's not like this, but I'm turning it and I'm dabbing it sideways. Depending on the shape of your brush, it may be different, but the goal is to have like an oval shape. And as I'm dabbing it, there's bundles a bit and they're kind of spread out. So maybe I'll do some more over here together. And if you find that your water, I think my water might be a bit dark, you can always lighten it up. You can always lighten it up before adding those lily pads. This is what I had to do for my original too. I found that the water was a bit too dark. So I'm gonna go back in. I can even go over the lily pads I just made. And I'll lighten it up a bit. Oops. Let's lighten up the water. Add some water. And then I can go back into dabbing my lily pads after. I was mentioning this last week as well, but I find that with painting, you're constantly problem solving as well along the way. Because I don't think with any painter, it's perfect in the first go. So it's a lot about seeing it in a different way and seeing how you can turn it into the vision you have in your head, right? So I'm gonna go back and lighten it. The water really helps if you find it's getting dry. Okay, and now I'm gonna go back with my darker green color and stamp in those lily pads. So towards the front, you're gonna see that my lily pads are a lot bigger. And then when you get closer towards the middle, they start to shrink. So I'm gonna do really giant ones in the front here, just to make it obvious the perspective. I'm gonna bundle them up a little bit. And kind of overlap too, so you don't have to fully space out. Give everyone a glimpse of the original. See how they're bundled here with the different greens? I have another kind of bunch over here, and then towards the middle, they're kind of just spread out. Hi, Vico. Sorry, I don't know if you had trouble with the link too, but you can catch up. So far, we have our water with the turquoise color and the different shades of turquoise and green. And right now, we're just dabbing in those lily pads. I'm gonna do it all with this one shade of green first, and then I'll move on to my next shade. So very small lily pads towards the back. And then as we get closer to the front, they get a little bit bigger. And I'm just using my side of the paintbrush to just stamp it in. Okay. You're gonna find that as you're mixing too, your paint won't always be a solid green color, and that's actually a good thing. It gives it more texture in this case. So if you find like little bits of different colors showing through that one stroke, it's okay. Stamp some more over there. This is better. Just gonna keep bundling them here on the right side. Let's bring it closer. Like I said, some of them can overlap each other. You can even go with your second layer of lily pads can be to fill in the gaps. Okay. I think I'm good with this shade of green. I'm going to make a darker green. Same thing we did with the grass. Add a little bit of black to our green. Add a little bit of black. And bring in some more lily pads. And then smaller lily pads, just very light dabbing in the back. Just very small lily pads. Okay. Just spread them out everywhere. I'll show you guys this one. It might be a bit easier on the lighting. Okay. After this, we're gonna start to move up into the trees. Can always add in after. Bigger lily pads in the front, smaller ones in the back. So just to clarify too, for those that are planning to join, next week. And for week 4, I'm gonna post next some other events for the month of July. So there will be more with a different theme that is a surprise, but it's gonna be the same link for week 3 and 4. I had to change it from week 1 because it was a different type of webinar. I don't wanna go into the details. I don't think you care too much about that, but just know that for the upcoming weeks, it will be this link. I think there was some miscommunication there and I apologize for that. Okay, so just finishing off my lily pads. We can always add some more after, but I'm gonna go back to my bigger paintbrush. And if you take a look here, it's really interesting with this painting because if you kind of break it down, there's different textures used in each third of the painting. So right here, we're just gonna be filling it in with our flat brush, just really up and down. But then in the middle here, we have the dabbing. After this, we have a bit of swirls over here, and this is also dabbing, right? So it's kind of broken down if you take a look closely. But right now, I'm gonna go into the midsection of the trees above the water here with a light turquoise color. So you can make a new one if you've run out. I'll start it again. A little bit of blue, a little bit of yellow, more blue than yellow, because we want it to be a lighter turquoise color. And let's add a whole scoop of white. It's going to be a lighter turquoise color. I'm going to add more yellow. I'll show you the final color that I kind of end up with, but I'm doing this midsection here. A little bit more yellow. There we go. It's like a Tiffany turquoise color there. Okay, this is the color I end up with. And I'm going right above my grass. This whole section right here, if you take a look at this whole section behind the bridge. And I'm just going with my flat paintbrush and I'm filling it in. So I'm going up and down, slightly swiping into the grass. And I'm just gonna fill this whole midsection here. This is kind of our background color because we're gonna layer on top of it after, dipping it into some water. I'm just filling this section here. Bring it into the grass. And as we're painting in this section here, I'm dipping my brush into the yellow, a bit of blue. You're gonna do this along the way a lot for this painting because you don't want it to be one solid color, but as you're painting it in, you're gonna add different shades of that color so that it looks a bit more 3D. See how it's a bit of green in there now? And I'm bringing it right up to the grass. You can fill it in. If you're going into the grass, I'm kind of swiping downwards with the thin side of my brush to fill in those white gaps. Okay. Let me know if you have any questions, okay? Filling it in.
Do you add water to that, Mickey? Because yours is like way liquidy or like it's
Yes,
more...
I'm working with paper. It's like a Bristol paper, so I am adding water just to fill in those. If you see those little white dots, water is the way to go to kind of just spread it out. Tiny bit of water, you can dab it on your paper towel, but I'm just using the water to spread it into those little white gaps. It will be a lot smoother, you'll find.
I'm using like a canvas, but it's...
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know when I use a canvas, those white dots, the little white dots show too. So not too much water. We're bringing it in. Hello, I think that was a goose from last week. And I'm filling it in. I'm gonna add some more white.
I found out that Agus was trying to get in, but I think he was trying to get in with the link from last week. That's what I was like, oh,
Yeah.
send him the link. I did, and so I guess he's in, right?
Yes, he just got in. Sorry about the link mix-up, Agus. I sent out a couple emails after with the new link, but it won't be a problem for next week. So it's confusing with the two links, I know. It's totally my fault there. It's crazy because even with online teaching, with my job, we've had so many iterations of the schedule, and even with the Zoom links, it gets quite interesting when you have 6-year-olds trying to find Zoom links too. So I totally get the frustration. I'm gonna bring this turquoise kind of right up to the top. Let's bring it all the way up because we're gonna layer over it anyways. Just spreading it up, the light turquoise color. And like I said, add a bit of water when you have those little white specks so that paint can just fill in there. And that's pretty much it for this portion. Okay. In this top corner here, I'm going to use a smaller brush, and we're going to be doing a swirly kind of texture. So right now we're pretty much done here. I'm bringing it up towards the grass, but don't worry about perfecting it right now. We're just literally layering on different types of textures. So if you take a look here in the top right corner, I have, it's kind of like clouds. So we're going to make those big bushy trees. I'm going to use a lighter green color. I'm going to add some white to that previous color I had. And I'm going to go right in. And my paintbrush, I'm literally scribbling in and going in circular motion. I'll add some more white there. So it's like clouds right now. You can fill it in top right section. Maybe add some more green along the way. Because it's very easy for this painting to become like a big blob of green because we're using such similar colors. So you want to kind of mix it up along the way. So I'm using a lighter green. Just going in with the white. And we'll fill this top corner here. Okay. Circular motion. Okay. I'm going to use my bigger brush. I'm going to do the same circles and fill in this top corner here. I'm going to make a darker green color for the top corner. So I'm going to make the same green and add a little bit of black. You know, so we're literally playing around with the same order of things. We're starting with a lighter green, then you can lighten it up. Do like a darker green in this corner here.
Sorry, can you explain to me because I'm right here. I think I'm a little bit behind.
Let's see. Okay. Yeah, so we're going to do, I'm using the same technique right now, but you can use the same green, add a little bit of white to it, and I'm going in a circular motion.
Okay.
So it's like clouds. We're making like bushy trees, basically.
Copy. Thank you.
No problem. And I'm just adding in the darker green on the top right corner here. Okay, so you have the smooth kind of up and down right above the grass, and then above that is just the circular motion. And along the corner I have the darker green color. So as I'm going to go down into this smooth section, I'm going to use the same technique to fill that in with the darker green. I see some. For those that came in a bit later, just let me know if you have any questions. I'm sure, Vico, you will catch up. Okay. And if you find it start kind of blending in too much and looking like a big blob, then switch it up, add a lighter shade of green, and go over it, just to mix it up, just so you can see the difference between the colors. Okay, I'm just filling in all those white spots right now. Is there anyone using anything other than paint today? I know we have someone that's using Photoshop, which is way advanced. But I'm using acrylic today. Okay, so we're bringing it right up to the grass. Let's close in all the white right above the grass here. So I'm bringing the darker green down. Like I said, if it gets a bit dry, just add some water and you can blend in those sections. Okay. If you need to go in and add more grass, kind of outline it again, you can do that as well. Because maybe it started to disappear. I always say how cool it is that we're just using yellow, blue, and red to make so many different colors. And with today, you really see that with the help of black and white, we can make so many different shades of just that turquoise color. It's 50 shades of green instead of gray. Okay. I'll give you guys some time for that. Is there any questions? Let me know. So literally, so the grass, we have the up and down, right? Just the flat, regular strokes here. And then I have the clouds on top. I have the darker green coming in from the top. Maybe I'll just lighten it up here a bit. Make it lighter. Just to make it a bit more obvious. Next part is going to be super easy, so. Give maybe a couple more minutes for that and then I'll keep going. I'll let you guys fill in those white spots. Next part, we're just going to be simply dabbing. Karen Fish, I'm glad you got in okay. Sorry about the link earlier.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. I can't wait to see everyone's. It's a full class today. There's about 50 of you in here. So imagine all of us with our different Monet paintings. It's going to be fun. I'm going in with the cloud. Okay. Is it okay if I keep going? Are you guys good? Okay. So for the midsection here, if you look at it, if you look closely, it's not just one color. So I dabbed my paintbrush into like a mix of blue and white and a bit of turquoise. So I didn't really mix it on the palette at all. It's like two colors that kind of show. It's like a mix of the two colors. And I'm just using that to really just stamp it. We're just dabbing it in. It's a beautiful, reminds me of like the bouncy balls, right? With the different textures in it. And you can play around with it. Dab it into a combination of two colors. I have like the blue and white beside each other on my palette. So I'm just dipping it in right in between. You can add a little bit of yellow there if you wanted to. And just dab, dab, dab away. Reminds me of like cherry blossoms. You can kind of bring it down towards the middle here. So now we're learning the different kind of ways you can fill up the painting. It's interesting when you kind of look at what Monet did, and when I learned a bit more about Impressionist, in his head, he must have seen these exact different textures when he looked at the scene that he was painting.
Sorry, I just want to make sure. So this is where I'm at right now.
Mm-hmm.
And then you took white and you put it where?
Let me just spotlight you for a second. Yeah, so right above the what you have there, I took some white, and you can kind of do the same thing, just swirl over it, just so that it shows a bit more. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, pin myself again. There we go. And I'm gonna keep dabbing. And this is recording right now. There will be no problem for sharing after. I'm dabbing. And as I get down towards the middle, I'm actually going to do some green streaks just to fill in that midsection again. You can even dab with the green, just straight green, as you get down towards the middle. Add some water. Just want to fill in that section right in the middle. Fill in that green right underneath. Oops, a bit dark. I'm just going up and down now, right underneath my dabbing, just to fill in the section of green above the water. We're starting to close off the white space in our painting. Maxwell, Tashanda, you guys doing okay?
Yeah, we're good. Maxwell's gone.
Okay. Oh, okay.
His art. It was just me. I was helping him with his.
Oh, okay.
This is going really well, Mickey. Thank you.
Okay, good. Keep dabbing, filling it in. So now we've learned how to swirl, dab, and just stroke. Sounds like some dance moves there. Stroking. Gosh. Dabbing all the midsection here. And I'm filling in right up to the water. Then this whole section we have left, that's just going to be one other kind of technique. And it's getting simpler, actually. Take your time. I find that what makes the most difference is when you start layering with the different shades of green, but the actual technique itself is really simple. Kind of play around with how you're holding the brush. I always mention if it's a lot easier to hold your brush closer to the tip as opposed to all the way down here because you have more control. So you can kind of just keep going downwards. It's really starting to come together. For this last section here, it's going to be similar to the blades of grass, similar to that swiping motion. Let's just keep filling it in. If you see some white spots, even like in your top corner, feel free to like dab it in too. You're not restricted to just keeping that one texture in that one portion of the painting. So these are now certain techniques you can take away when you ever want to paint your backyard. Maybe there's a tree. You can look at it and think of these strokes that you're doing right now to paint again. Okay. The last section on the top left is going to be super simple. I'm mixing a green color. And with this section, it's going to be just long streaks up and down. You can also, if you have a larger paintbrush with a flat top, I'm just dabbing it downwards. Starting to dab it in, dab or swipe. Okay. Keep swiping. I'm gonna lighten up my green because it's starting to look a bit similar to my grass. I want to make that differentiating. Some water, it's getting dry. So for this section, we want to just fill in the white first, because in order to get the textured, it's like the hanging, I'm not sure what these plants are called, but it's like the hanging leaves. We're gonna have to do that on top in the last step. So just fill in that white space first. I find with like impressionist paintings, it's like borderline, you can always almost feel like it's messy compared to what we did last week with Picasso. It was very like clean lines, but this, the more blended together, the messier the colors kind of mix together, the better. They're not solid at all. You can even see the difference between the right side and the left side. I'm going to mix a darker green just to show you guys how this dabbing downwards will look. So I'm going to dab with my flat brush. Not dabbing so hard, but you can see the little specks. And I'm doing it as if they're like long strings just hanging from the sky here. You can make them different lengths. I'm using the it's close to black almost. You can see the texture, right? Just dabbing downwards. Long strings. And then I'm going to do another layer over the darker strings with the white. Now I'm going to do the same thing. I'm layering it over with a white, just straight white. My brush is a bit dirty, but I just dipped it into the white, and I'm dabbing long strings downwards. And at this point, your canvas should be pretty much filled up. I'm going to give everyone, maybe let's do like 5 minutes just to do your own touches depending on where you're at. You can fill in the white spaces. I'm going to use this time to actually add in some more lily pads. And go back and use a lighter green color and dab into lily pads to kind of let the top dry. Let me know if you have any questions at this point. Let's make a lighter green color here. I'm adding some lily pads. You find that when you start adding a lighter green color of lily pads, there's so much more depth to the painting than when you just had that one shade. So I'm adding lighter lily pads right now, just in between. Adding some white and yellow to it. You can even go right on top of some of the old ones to give it like a second, an overlay right on top of my darker green. Just fill in these white spaces. So you can either do the dabbing, there's the swirling, or just the simple flat strokes to fill in those white spaces. If you want some more perspective, I find the darker green is more towards like the outside. And then in the middle, it's a bit lighter, kind of like a vignette effect. Sorry, Vico, I just saw your message. Is it the blob? It's a bit late now. Let me know if you need any help. As we're kind of finishing up adding in the touches, finishing touches to the trees, you can go back and add in some more blades of grass to fill in any spaces that you have too. So it's a lot of back and forth. Along the river, you want the top layer of grass to be a darker, it's almost close to black. It's very, very dark along the top layer of the, as you're outlining the grass, just to add in the shadow. Okay, so I'm gonna take my smaller brush. I'm gonna mix it into black and green. Oh, see the chat. Mainly probably translation of the one medium to another. Okay. I'm sure your interpretation will be great too. Let me know if there's any way I can help. So with the darker green color, I'm gonna go right over. I'm not gonna do the full size blades of grass, but a bit shorter, just along the bottom. Can even dab a bit, give it a bit of platform to grow on. So I'm going in with a darker black, because you can see the shadow difference here versus what I have here. So darker all the way towards the middle. I'm going all the way same idea as you get closer towards the middle. Get shorter. Do the same thing on this side. After this, we can do the bridge. So after this, we're going to go into the bridge. It'll be harder to go back into the trees after the bridge, so whatever white spaces you want to fill in, you can take this time now to do that, because we're going to jump into the bridge after this. So I'm just filling in my grass right now. Our last step will be the the flowers on top of the lily pads, the lilies. Feel free to stretch your legs if you need to before we go into the bridge. Because right now everyone's kind of just catching up and doing their thing. Let's see how everyone's doing. So many new names I do not recognize. Go. Take your time, Vico. I can imagine the challenge, the transition, because what I'm instructing might not apply with Photoshop tools. It's a lot more blending with this painting, whereas with last week, it was cleaner lines, which is probably why. I'm gonna add some streaks in the water too, while I have some dark green. Let's add some dark streaks, just add some texture in the water here and there. It can be like the shadows under the lily pads, just some streaks. Lightly just brushing my paint brush underneath. But then we're gonna get ready for the bridge. Okay. See how everyone's doing. Are we almost ready for the bridge? Because after the bridge won't take too long, but then we just have the lily. So I think you can take your time here as much as you need. And then we'll go into the bridge. Right now, the most important part is that you have your trees, the top section of your painting, almost finalized so that we can do the bridge. And then let's add some more dabs here. Okay. Okay, let's get ready to hop into the bridge because it will be a bit challenging to go back and change, but you can always kind of fill in between carefully if you need to. But for the bridge, I'm going to use straight white paint. And for this part, you want to make sure your paintbrush is nice and flat because it is more the part that needs a bit more detail orientation. And I'm going to mark off where I want to start my bridge. So if you look at how far it is from the top, I'd say maybe about 3 fingers, and then I'm just gonna mark it off right here in the middle. That's where the middle of my bridge will be, the top railing. And then another 3 fingers, we'll mark it right there. So right now I have these 2 white dots that will kind of help us That will help us with our bridge. Okay, so I'm gonna start at my bottom, towards the middle of my painting here, the bridge, but I wanna make sure that I meet that white dot that I made earlier. So take your time with this. Let's just start with the top railing, and then you can adjust along the way. So make it super thin. I'm gonna start right around above the grass, right around here. So you wanna make sure that above the grass you'll have space for the bottom railing, that's all. Right around here. Hope everyone see. I'm gonna start to draw in my bridge. Slowly, just take your time with this. Some might be a bit curvier than others. It's okay if yours is and I'm gonna take my time and meet the white in the middle. Okay, so with the left side, the bridge isn't completely touching the end of the painting, but on the right side, it's gonna go all the way past the border. All the way to the end. All the way to the end of the canvas. Okay. Take your time with this. Do it one more time. Once you have that first one, you can breathe because it will help you with the bottom. You're basically just making it parallel to that. Okay. We start with the white at the bottom and then we can add those textured colors on top. Okay, let's go into our second one. It said it's about 3 fingers or even 4 if you wanted to. It's right above the blade of grass, so it's almost going into the grass. It's cutting into the grass a bit. And we're gonna go all the way around again to meet that dot we made earlier. Take your time with this, you can use your eye. I like to do little strokes at a time so that you can kind of gauge how far it is from the top and make sure that it's equal the whole way. It's a bit of symmetry here, all the way to the end. And once you have the basic line, you can start to clean it up. Just cleaning it up here. We're gonna add another thin bar in between these 2 lines that we made as well. This part here reminds me a bit of last week. It's more of a clean lines. Once you're ready, you can do the middle. Just perfectly in between the 2 that we just made. I'm gonna go right along. It's gonna be slightly thinner. You need to kind of pinch your brush to help you have more control. You can go ahead and do that. And continue the middle. Okay, now as you're painting your bridge, can kind of think of what color you want. I have the blue on the bridge here. Just clean that up a little bit all the way there. And then in between we have these bars. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bars. I have the white one right in the middle. Cutting that in half there, right in the middle. And then we have 2 more on each side. So I'm going to do one at the end, and then right in the middle of that. I like to just section it off so it's easier for me to gauge the equal parts. So I did the further one first, and then from there you can kind of see where the middle is of those two. And the same thing with the right side. And right in the middle. Perfect. Okay, so if you look close at my painting, I have a darker bridge. It's a darker version of what we just painted right on top. But as you get towards the left side, it's like overlapping. But on this side, if this is a bit of an extra detail, but I went off onto the right side a bit, so you can see that there's the white railing and then the blue one right beside, the darker one right beside it, just to show a bit of perspective, and then it's overlapping. So I'm going to dip my brush into a bit of black and blue, and we're going to start to add some texture to the bridge. Okay. So towards the right side, I'm going to paint a line right on top of the white. Let's make it a little bit darker. Right on top of the white. And then this brush is not the greatest. Let's see. As I get closer to the left side, it's going to go right on top of the white. It's just a minor detail. So I'm going to go right on top of the white. And then as I get towards the middle, I'm going to merge it and then go right on top of the white. Right on top. So I'm starting at the top. We're going to do the same thing with the middle, right on top of the white. It's a very minor detail, but it shows a bit of perspective. 3D bridge. And towards the middle, I'm going right on top of the white. And then the bottom is just right over it, actually. So with the blue here, if you look closely, I'm going right above the white.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Right above the white. I just realized I was on mute for the last 5 minutes, so I'm going to re-explain that. Right above the white, and then if you get towards the middle, we're going to go right on top of the white. So it's a bit of 3D perspective here. So you're going to start on the right side on top of the white lines, but then as you get towards the middle, you just go right over that white. And I did that with like a dark blue color. I added blue with black. It can even be a lighter blue if you wanted to. Right on top of the white. There can even be a gap in between if you wanted, and then over the white. So you're going above the white line here. For the bottom bar of the bridge, we're just going to highlight in between. So you don't have to worry about the
So you're doing all of the
bottom. Yeah, so let's take a look here. I'm gonna put this a bit closer. But I went above the white for the top and then meeting over the white. Same for the middle, but then the last one at the bottom, you just have white highlights, blue highlights on top of the white. It's kind of like a gradient that you see, right? You still want some white to come through, right? So just do swipes of blue here and there. But you don't have to fill the whole thing with the blue. And then you want to do the same dividers in between with the blue as well. So with the blue, now I'm meeting the blue line with the bottom blue line, and I'm going to go right beside the white. So there's a little bit of a gap in between. You can imagine that there's the one railing on the right side that's blue, and the one on the left side is white. That's kind of what you can imagine it to be as you're painting. So the blue railing should meet the blue. And it's a little bit, there's a gap between the white and the blue. Okay. If you wanted to add some white highlights on top of the blue, you could do that too. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect, but with Impressionist paintings, it's a lot of mixing colors, kind of like a blurry bridge. It's not very clear cut anyway, so you don't have to worry about it being perfect or the exact lines. Right. I'll have another blue. Right here. It's starting to come together. So we're just finishing off the bridge. Just adding the finishing touches. Let me know if you have any questions about the bridge. But it's cool how you can see the 3D effect with that, right? So you just have the white at the bottom, and then you did the blue on top, and it's slightly off towards the right side. So it's not right on top of the white. Because after this, all we have left are the lilies, which is the cherry on top. Kind of just going over my white. As you're painting too, you'll notice, I'm not sure how much paint you all put out onto your plate in the beginning, but barely need any paint. It's like probably a quarter size of each color. The red, we barely have any too, even less than that for the red. I have to take your time adding the finishing touches to the bridge, but I'm gonna go back into my water and I'm gonna add some of the white highlights just because I feel like there's not many on my original here. Add some white paint. And get us ready for the lilies. Adding some white highlights just here and there. I added a bit of yellow to my white for the highlights at the bottom. Just gives it a nice glow. Right before we add the lilies. I'll start with the lilies for those that are already at this point. Similar to the lily pads, we're using the same kind of stamping technique, but now instead of it facing landscape, we're gonna point it upwards, and we're gonna dab three little dots, just like that, for the lilies. I'll show
You're
you
going
how
on
they
the
look.
green lily pads or the white lily pad?
The white lilies, yeah. So you can see how it's made up of three little dabs, and then you have the pink or the red in the middle.
Okay, thank you.
Look like little W's, actually, if you take a look at it closely.
Yeah.
We can have the one in the middle a little bit shorter. And then remember that as you get towards the back, it's important that they look extra small. It's just very small white spots. It doesn't have to be three. It can even just be like two little dabs as you get towards the back. Look like little hearts. But just very, very small. I'm going to make a really big one in the front here just to make the perspective clear. And in the middle, it's like medium sized. Play around with how you're holding the brush. And smaller ones at the back. You can kind of bundle these up too, if you wanted to overlap them. I find the variety of where you place the lilies also matters. So if I kind of have them spread out everywhere, it doesn't look as nice as if I were to have like one, or if I have two beside each other, and then some that are just standing alone. Add another one right here. There we go. You have one, some along the grass. As long as you have the one or two really big ones in the front, the perspective will really show, even if the lilies at the back aren't too small. For the middle of the lilies, I'm mixing like a dark pink color with a tiny bit of red. And then you just add in a little dot there. So it's a little bit of white and red. I have like a dark pink color. And you just dab it. You can even use the back of your paintbrush if you want, if it's too small, towards the back here. It's cool how many different ways you can use your brush. So I'm using the back of my paintbrush just to spot it. This dark pink color.
And you're just dabbing it on.
Yep, just a tiny little dot. It's a really beautiful touch with the pink. Kind of like brightens up the whole painting because it's all the only red we used in the whole painting. Right? Is everyone doing okay? Starting to come into landing, and we're great for time today. You can go back in if you wanted to add any details. If you want, you can even, I made one lily that's fully pink, just so you can see. It's kind of purple, actually. But if you want to play around with that and do like a white seed in the middle, you can go for that too. Just that one white one. Doesn't stand out as much, but it's a bit different. Starting to look very similar now. I don't think I like how my bridge here is a bit more, it's a thicker. I'm gonna go in. It's a good time now to just kind of stand back and look at your painting and see what you want to add to it before signing it off. Today was a quick lesson. In a couple minutes. Everyone like 5 minutes. I'm not sure where everyone's at. I might be a bit faster, but I'd love to see at the end. We can all kind of hold up what we've done and share it. And like the last class, I love receiving everyone's painting. So if you can email me with a nice picture, you can even be in the picture holding it up. It resembles the end of the classes when I hold events in person, when people take like their group pictures holding up their paintings proudly. And then I can make a little collage and send it out. I always find it nice seeing how different everyone's is with just the one instruction, right? That pinkish color with a little bit of blue, it looked nice with the highlights on the bridge. Adds like a purpley glow.
Jen, where did you add the pink on the flowers?
Right at the bottom.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Right. Yeah, right in the middle of the lily.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
I put it up top.
Oh, at the bridge, you're saying?
No, like I did it like. See?
Here, let me spotlight you. Oh, nice.
Yeah,
I love
did
it.
But I guess I can make it.
Yeah, whatever you feel.
I did it wrong, but that's okay. It's fine.
I did the pink right at the bottom, yeah.
That makes sense.
My favorite brush stroke is the dabbing in the corner because it really resembles. I sent out 2 versions, but let me see if I can pull up Monet's.
Did Victoria say it's not wrong, it's something? Or did someone just say something? It's not wrong, it's what?
It's not wrong, it's just different.
Thank you, whoever said that. That's my perfection brain.
It's not wrong, it's just different. It's a Bob Ross line right there that I can add in. That's like true. Ooh, and that looks amazing. How's everyone doing? Oh, Heath, you have a whole party
It
going
looks
there.
amazing from a distance, but up close, I don't know.
All right, let's hold up our paintings. Let's see. If you want to turn on your cameras and share. Let me spotlight some of you. Let's see. Speaker.
Next time I'm not going to do watercolor. It is hard.
Oh, you're doing watercolor.
Yeah.
Oop. Pin. I'll spotlight some of you. Ooh, look at that. Ooh, I really love, Adriana, you used like really lighter colors there. It's really different. Oh, it's so nice.
Yeah.
I'm gonna spotlight Karen.
Oh, everyone's looks so nice. Oh my God, it's so nice.
This is a
Beautiful.
virtual gallery walk.
At the bottom. I like that.
Oh,
Oh, wow. Jerry, that looks amazing. I love that.
Looks so good.
Data.
Leaves at the bottom. I'm gonna do that.
It's beautiful.
Wow. Oh, that's beautiful.
Shanda, I'm gonna spotlight you.
Watercolor.
Oh, that's nice. Oh, I can see how it would be different with watercolor.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Who else has it up? And
Okay.
I need a separate IT assistant for this. This is a little
Beautiful.
So pretty.
Oh my God.
Agus, let's see. Agus, did you use paint today?
No, I use pastels.
Oh my gosh, this is with pastel here.
Wow.
That's beautiful. It's so dreamy. Let's see.
Oh my gosh.
Chunky. Oh, Barbara, did you use yellows? Let's see. Okay, Barbara, you're on spotlight. Can you hold it up? Oh, Barbara, you are, that's amazing.
That's beautiful.
Barbara, you
That's
must
really
paint a lot,
amazing.
don't you?
I used to, on and off.
Yeah.
I'd like to start again.
Yeah. Oh, it's so beautiful. I loved how you used the yellow.
The yellow is really nice.
Yeah.
Yellow underneath.
Oh, that's amazing.
So pretty.
Let's see, Blanca,
Holy smokes.
spotlight there.
Oh my gosh. that's
Beautiful. Rachel. Oh, that's really nice. Okay, I'm gonna go gallery view. Get everyone's.
super cool.
Thank you guys so much for joining. You guys
Thank
all did
you.
amazing.
So much fun. Have a
Oh,
great
that's so
day.
beautiful. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Nikki.
Same
Bye.
link for next week.
Okay, bye. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye and thank you.
Amazing job. Talia, good job. Please take a picture and send it to me. Bye.
Bye.
Have
Bye,
a great
Jen.
Sunday, everyone.
Agus, Italia, les mando un besito. These are my friends, Agus and Talia, from the dance group.
Are you?
Dancing.
Oh, I'm
We're
gonna
all
be there on
dancers.
Friday. I'm gonna dance with you guys on Friday.
Yeah.
Try to see you.
Adriana, if you want, you can even share your or your
Oh, sure, yes.
in the
You know
chat.
what? I'll put it in the chat now.
Yeah. Adriana hosts a Tahitian Hawaiian dance classes for free on Fridays. So if you want to get moving, I'm going to join too.
Yeah.
Talia, are you also from Mexico, or are you in San Francisco as well?
I'm Mexico.
Oh, wow. What time is it right now in Mexico?
I'm living here.
No, ¿qué tiempo es? Son
I'm-
las 2:54.
2:54.
Oh, PM.
I gotta tell you, like, hands down for Talia, because she doesn't speak English and she still follows the class. So
Wow.
nice. Muy bien.
Muy bien.
Lo hice con pastel y que casi me sale.
Let's spotlight here.
She used pastel today.
Ah, you used pastel as well.
Wow.
Oh, that's so nice. Beautiful. Thank you everyone for joining. I ended it early so you can spend some time relaxing. Oh, Vico, let me spotlight you. Hold on. Vico used what? Vico's from Chile.
Wow.
Amazing. Wait, is it on the left side? That's mine. You're still finishing, right, Vico? It's beautiful. I can see how it's a bit harder because you probably have to use different tools in between. Oh, Vico is speaking Spanish and I don't understand in the chat there. And I will not attempt to read it.
It's very awesome.
Maybe Adriana, if you're still here. Bye, Sandy. Thank you for joining from Australia.
Oh yeah, Vico was saying, Talia, if you need any translation during the class, you can write to me so I can help you.
Oh, that's nice.
I think Raul is right next to her, and Raul speaks.
Ah, okay.
I speak English.
Perfect. Oh, let's see. Who else? Thanks for joining, Karen.
Thank you so
McLean.
much, Jen. Thank you.
Oh, M. McLean. I don't know your name, but amazing job. Thank you, everyone. Same time next Sunday. Oh, Sandy, is it 3:45 a.m.? That's insane. In Australia.
It's almost 6 o'clock now.
It's 6 o'clock now?
Almost.
Oh my goodness. I'm honored. I hope you got a lot of sleep beforehand.
No.
No. All right, time to nap now.
Okay.
Bye. Adrienne, I'll input it in the email too since you mentioned it. I'll send it out. Yeah. All right. Bye, everyone.
I was trying. I even sent it to Agus, but I don't know how to paste it here.
Yeah.
I'll send it to the email.
Yeah, I'll send the Zoom link and then I can even just add it at the bottom of my follow-up email for everyone.
Perfect.
Yeah. Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Happy Sunday.